The lounge smelled like antiseptic and faint espresso. I'd been shown a chair by a young man with a name tag, told not to move. Someone would return. Check. In takes time, they said, and I nodded. I have nodded at many things over the years. Is easier than arguing. Time began to stretch almost immediately. The announcement system hummed, then clicked, boomed a list of departures that had nothing to do with me. I watched other travelers drift past, rolling suitcases like tides, sipped a tepid coffee, then left it cold. My phone battery ticked down. I told myself patience was a skill, quiet virtue I had honed over decades. Hours seeped in. I noticed patterns: a woman at the food counter who always restocked napkins, the way the lounge lights dimmed when planes arrived, how the digital clocks never seemed synchronized. I made mental notes. No one asked. I began to wonder, was I invisible or just forgotten? But I silenced the question, as one silences a cough in polite company. I did not eat much. I did not complain, not even ask for water, until my throat reminded me that I still existed. I had learned long ago that neediness is messy, and I have always kept myself tidy. Still, a flicker of doubt grew. Boarding groups changed, flights closed, rehearsed explanations for them, justifications I might offer later if anyone asked why I hadn't left. By mid-afternoon, hours had passed. My body stiffened, my bladder whispered warnings I ignored. I kept my dignity intact as best I could, though the waiting had etched lines of fatigue on my face. The lounge was bright, softly lit, but I felt small within it. Invisible machinery of service had been running all day, yet none of it seemed intended for me. Then an authority appeared, not someone dramatic, no one shouting or pointing. A lounge supervisor approached, eyes scanning the reservation system. "You've been here 8 hours," he said quietly, as if stating a fact, not scolding. Policies activated. Phone calls were made. Information traveled without my permission, but on my behalf. Control shifted externally, decisively. I learned what I had suspected but had avoided admitting: my family had checked in and left, assuming someone else would handle me. Not an accident, not a drama, just a quiet, ordinary neglect. Power for the first time that day became undeniable. The supervisor did not lecture, did not make me apologize. He simply acted. I followed him, calm, answering questions accurately. I allowed help. There was no triumph, no revenge, only procedure and the soft relief that someone else was accountable. Rebooking was done. A note in the system recorded the day, the hours, the lapse. The trace would follow my itinerary, persistent but unobtrusive. I waited again in a different way now, no longer invisible, no longer erased. My dignity was intact, quietly reinforced. The lounge felt the same, yet I felt changed, measured differently against time, against attention, recognition. There was no confrontation, no loud demands. I did not need one. Victory, if it could be called that, was private and professional. But the cost remained. The abandonment was confirmed. I would remember it in future waits, in future nods of patience. I would carry it with the same careful composure I always have. 8 hours had passed, and I had waited.